Hello and welcome to the final episode of Plant Culture. In this episode we'll cover the ancient trade between the ancient Holy Roman Empire and the Islamic Caliphate. This paper is done by Dr. Margriet van der Veen of the University of Leicester, and here are the results of her findings. In the excavation of various trade routes and different ports, during the 17th and 18th centuries, in an ancient trade outpost run by an Arabic trader named Qasir al-Qadem, in a location currently referred to as the Islamic Indian Ocean Trade, located on the Red Sea coast of Egypt, evidence of different trades between the Holy Roman Empire and the Islamic world were found. At that location, various samples were excavated, which include remnants of leftover food and fodder, consumed by both people and pack animals, remnants of 12 imports, which include remnants of complete fruits, fruit stones, seed remnants, rhizome fragments, and seed capsules, as well as various types of husks. These have been dated in the context of dated pottery, which was found in, and there's evidence that it was somewhere between the 1st and early 3rd century. This corresponds with evidence that pepper, specifically black pepper, the fruit of a spice tree known as Balearic myrobalan, commonly used for tanning leather and as a source of black and brown dye, and as a medicine plant. The researchers also found evidence of coconut, rice, mung bean, and a spice known as emblic that date around that same time period. Our samples found in that dig site include remnants of cardamom, turmeric, ginger, black myrobalan, the spice called figera, the spice called betel nut, and all these spices were found either in the Middle East or outside of that Asian continent, being the first example of non-Asiatic goods being traded with Europe in post-classical history. 6 of these samples found within this region were not from Asia and date to between the late or mid 11th century and the early 12th century. The most common finds in the dig sites were black pepper, rice, and coconut, with turmeric and betel nut being the rarest, with only one specimen of each being found within the archaeological dig site. 4 of the imports found in that dig site were spices of the modern culinary sense: black pepper, ginger, turmeric, and cardamom. The other 4 were used for medicine purposes such as Balearic myrobalan, black myrobalan, emblic, myrobalan, and figera. There's also one narcotic plant found, specifically betel nut, and the remaining 3 plant imports were said to be sent towards ancient Rome, where rice, coconut, and mung bean. Similar products were also found in that date around the 11th century, and various texts also mention purchasing different spices from the trader Qasir al-Qadem. These spices include cardamom, cinnamon, and ginger, and 6 of the species found in are of the same type as those delivered by that Islamic trader. Based on both archaeological and textual evidence, it is likely that the most commonly traded spice was black pepper, and was traded in high quantities. There's various speculations on what drove this trade. Since spices were highly prestigious items back in that time period, it would have likely been the result of trade between the elites of society within the Islamic and Holy Roman Empire realms, as spices were one common symbol for prestige and honor in both civilizations. And due to the fact that there's heavy amounts of mystery in the Eastern realms by the early Europeans, a great many spices carried a whole lot of folklore with them, and so Middle Eastern spices became magical in the eyes of many European people. Also, many spices such as cardamom and ginger, which all share the same family, are rich in various types of secondary metabolites that can improve health. Even though they did not have the fundamental understanding of chemistry that the modern world has, they understood that the elite of these groups knows that their health improved when they consumed these substances. This will further improve trade relationships during that era. Now as for what they were used for, many different books, such as recipe books,
pharmacopoeias, and other historical texts describe the use of various types of plants in both ritual, cuisine, and medicine. Peppercorns seem to be primarily used for food purposes, and many peppercorn pieces were kept in ornate food jars, such as what's seen here on the screen. Dioscorus also mentions the extensive use of pepper, specifically black pepper, as a foodstuff and as a means of fighting off coughs. Ginger and cardamom were historically used by Dioscorides and by their successor physicians as all-purpose antidotes to different diseases, with ginger being used as a means of treating stomach problems and cardamom being used to treat inflammation. And a great many of these spices were used extensively by the Roman Empire for perfume purposes, and many spices from the Middle East were used extensively by the Romans for perfume purposes, especially for females, although none were found at that trading post mentioned before, indicating a more wide trade between the two empires during that time period. The elite also obtained black myrobalan, which has 10 times more vitamin C than apples, and is said to be useful in treating diabetes in ancient times. It was also used by sailors to treat scurvy. These events likely awoke the spice desire within the Roman peoples, which would be inherited by the other countries that were once attached to the Roman Empire. And this desire would lead to many different conflicts and brand new discoveries, both for good and for ill. Well, that about covers everything. Thank you for watching. Thank you for watching this video. If you're watching on YouTube, please subscribe to me on BitChute for a greater variety of content, 4 videos a week. And thank you to all my subscribers on both platforms. I appreciate it.